All right, wonderful. So welcome everybody. Glad that you were able to join us tonight. This is the first of what we hope will be many webinars that we're going to be putting on as a council. Some of them will be relating to camp, some of them will be relating to other things. But tonight we want to focus in on Cub Scout Resident Camp and some of the new things that are going on, some of the things that we're bringing back, and want to make sure that we have the opportunity to get everybody as involved as possible in that. So I know usually we have an in-person meeting. We're going to do our best here to work through some of the different challenges as we're socially distancing from each other to make sure that we're able to everybody get all the information that they need as possible. So a couple of quick things. I'm going to go over here and reshare the PowerPoint thing. I only have like 18 slides, I promise. It's not that bad. So let me go back to here. All right, and then share. All right, wonderful. So right now you should be able to see the slide deck here. So if somebody could just comment on in there or say something, we can all see that now. Am I doing this right?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, wonderful. All right, so a couple of quick housekeeping notes to make sure that as we go throughout tonight, just to help make sure that we don't have any dogs barking in the back, or I got my cats out of the room. Just ask that everybody takes their speakers and put them on mute for tonight, or their microphones, and put those on mute for tonight. That way we have the opportunity to prevent any feedback coming in or looping or anything like that. We don't want any of those negative things coming in. If you have a question, there are a couple little features that you can use on the bottom of your screen. There's a little, you can raise your hand. There's a little hand raising icon. There's a chat bar as well. Definitely encourage you to use those. I'll have the chat going. The chat bar will be up on my desktop here as we go throughout tonight. And if there's an opportunity for me to answer a question as we're going, I will make sure I do that. We're definitely going to have the opportunity at the end as well to be answering questions. This webinar is being recorded, so we'll have the opportunity to take that at the end, and we'll make that available to anybody who's interested in it. We've got to take a look at the file size to see if we can, that's something we can upload to the SusquehannaBSA.org website, or whether we're adding it to our YouTube page and providing a link, but we'll make that available for folks as well. Additionally, we're going to compile the slides that you see, as well as some of the question and answers to get a little bit of a FAQ compiled together to make those available. Those will definitely be on the website. And if you think of things after tonight that you didn't get the chance to ask, my email is right there, jacob.horner@scouting.org. Definitely want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get all of your questions answered as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible, and all of that. So give me just 1 second to look at the, there we go, okay. I didn't make sure I had the ability to see people's hands raised. So, all right, so with that, we're gonna move into our presentation. So our plan for tonight, actually did a little bit of last minute adjustment. We're gonna talk about our the COVID-19 coronavirus and how that's affecting scouting locally. We're gonna talk about that first. Then we're gonna get into some facility updates and what's new for 2020, program-wise, facility-wise. We're going to talk a little bit about the new online registration system with Black Pug. I'm actually going to be able to pull up some examples, and we'll be able to have some interactive portions with that, where we'll walk you through a little bit about what that looks like. You'll see it pop up on your screen, so that way as you're going through the process of either registering for the first time or going back in to apply secondary payments, especially with the office being closed, we want to make sure that everybody's as well versed in that as possible, so that way we can make sure that the payments are still coming in as you guys are getting those as well for your units. We'll review some of the Sunday check-in procedures for when you arrive to camp during the summer, talk about some general reminders, and then, like I said, we'll have an opportunity for question and answers near the end. But again, don't feel like you have to wait till the end to add those to the group chat. If you have a question, please add that and type that into your group chat. I'll do my best to get through as many of those tonight as we possibly can. So, quick thing, obviously, coronavirus, it's a thing. And by order of the governor, as of today, for the rest of April, the Commonwealth is going to be in a state of limited travel, no unnecessary travel, however you want to call it, or basically we want to make sure that we're following the social distancing procedures. We're making sure that we're washing our hands, sanitizing hands, not going out in groups more than 10, and making sure that we're doing all those things. Definitely, as you know, we're making as many efforts as we can as a scouting program to make sure that we're having camp ready to go and respond to that. I've heard a lot that with warmer weather, the coronavirus tends to dissipate. So we are definitely hoping and praying, and that will take place soon as we move into the warmer months, and then hopefully it'll be over again. Right now, our camp schedule is still planned to go as as it has been identified. So we're still planning on starting in June 7th with staff week and going through the program weeks as we've been advertising. If that changes, we'll make sure that we notify everybody as soon as possible. With the fact that, I mean, we're looking at June and it's still only the beginning of April. It's just still too far out to make sure that we want to make any decisions too hastily, or want to make sure that we have all the information in front of us as we go through those. I do want to tell everybody too that in regards to COVID-19, we applied for and received a micro grant of $250 to help us with getting some more hand sanitizing stations. So we'll be purchasing those and getting those up and around camp. We're going to have more different things that are around laminated signage in the campsites and around in different program areas. Staff is going to be trained during staff week of how, okay, here's how to do a proper hand washing procedures, and making sure that when our campers are going to and from meals, whether they're going to and from program areas, that we're following all those protocols to help keep the spread as low as possible. And I'll be working daily with the health officer to review anything that comes in, and we'll just, again, keeping everybody updated as we go throughout this ever-changing process and this ever-changing situation. So with that being said, what is to look forward to? So we have a lot of awesome things that are coming up this year, a lot of new changes that have taken place to camp, new things that are going on with the program, with the staffing and everything like that. So first thing I want to talk about is some updates to some of the facilities that we have. The Cub Scout programs, if you were at camp last year, during our Cub Scout sessions, you were actually able to see the finished shower house. That was something that was right near the end of the season. Our volunteers and our teams were able to come together, really put in an awesome effort. If you haven't seen the new shower house, it is absolutely fantastic. It is located behind the dining hall, in between there and the staff Tebben site, with the kind of in that Tebben area. Like I said, the facility is just top notch and is a really, really awesome addition to our ability to have families coming to camp. There's definitely individual changing stalls and all those things that we need for that. We had some upgrades to our pool system. We were able to acquire 2 new pumps for our pools to help keep the filtration of that going. So we have more and better flow than we've had in the past 10 years or so with our filtration system and chlorination system with the pool. We had some folks come in and actually back flush a whole bunch of leaves and gunk and sticks and things that had gotten into the system over the years. And so that is running really, really well. We're really excited about that. We had some improvements to Chapel Road, make sure that they basically didn't get washed away with erosion. So we have some new drainage culverts that have been introduced into there and fixed up in patchwork, as well as all the other roads in camp have been, that was something that was done right at the beginning of the summer last year. Was we had all the roads got regraded, so they are in fantastic shape. We have a revised program guide for this year. So that last year and in the past couple of years, we've had a behemoth 87-page program guide and leader guide for everything from Cub Scouts to Scouts BSA to weekend rentals to how to apply to be on camp staff. Basically, I wanted to make sure that as pack leaders, you guys had everything that you needed to know right at your fingertips without a whole bunch of extraneous details. All those other details are still available on our council website, but for the program guide for this year, it is a much condensed version for specifically what do you need, how can you best prepare for Cub Scout Resident Camp for 2020. So that's available on our website, and I think I have a slide up coming up next about that. Some COPE program area, we'll touch on that in a little bit. Some new sailboats we have ordered and they're on their way. That was something that we were excited about for last year. Obviously, like I said, we're going to talk about the new online registration system and high-speed internet. So if you haven't had the chance to download the new program guide for 2020, really encourage you to go online and do that. SusquehannaBSA.org. It's under the Camping and Resident Camp Resources tab. This is going to be your best place to get a whole bunch of information for summer camp. And again, we're going to make sure that we keep things updated on our Facebook page, keep things updated with the other webinars and whatnot. But definitely, if you haven't had the chance, get this. Feel free to share it with your parents, other leaders. Make sure that everybody has all the information that they need for a successful summer camp. Programmatically, one of the things that we're looking at is a Throwback Thursday. So one of the cool things that I got to experience for the first time last year was, as I came into this council, was there is a lot of passion for scouting in the Susquehanna Valley. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. And we need to cherish that. We need to celebrate that. And what better way to do that with each week having an opportunity for all of our scouts, whether they're the adult leaders or whether they're others who, like myself, who weren't necessarily, around back in the 70s, but still want to make sure that we're having fun and celebrating that. So we're encouraging all scouts, all volunteers, anybody who's up at camp on Thursdays to come with their throwback uniforms, their olive greens shirts, any of the old camp staff or Camp K hats or t-shirts or anything along those lines. Really, really excited to see what that brings. But we have a lot of really, really cool things that we have as a history of our council and a history of Camp K. And I think that this is a great way that we can celebrate that together. So that's going to be taking place in Cub Scout sessions as well as Scouts BSA sessions this summer. And I glossed over it really quickly, but I wanted to come back to it because I had a slide for it, is the high-speed internet. Thank you to Windstream and thanks to Dennis Dugan, our Scout executive. Has been able to work really, really hard, and we actually have the ability now to have high-speed internet. I can tell you it is at camp. It is at the dining hall. We are really excited about that. We're going to be rolling this out in a couple of different stages. And obviously, with everything else going on with coronavirus, that's kind of impacting a little bit of how quickly we're able to unroll this. But I do want to say that we do have high-speed internet. Like I said, the initial plan for this year is to roll it out at the dining hall, health lodge, trading post, and camp office. And then in future years, expand that out to different program areas, having it available in the cabins. So that's going to be something that'll be beneficial for us during the summer camp setting, because as leaders, we recognize that you take a lot of time out of your, your days and your years to save up vacation days to come out to summer camp, and you don't necessarily have the ability. Every situation is different, and you might need to check your email for work. You might need to do a webinar for work. You might need to do, we have other obligations outside of scouting, and so having this internet access, in addition to being a health and safety benefit for the camp, really allows us to be able to offer that to our leaders in a way that they can still be engaged in the moment with their scouts, but at the same time, take that 15, 20 minutes to sneak away, make sure that everything is good to go on the home front, and then and come back and be in the moment. So we're really excited about that. And like I said, in the off season too, this is going to be beneficial. We can have that available for our cabin rentals once we get to that point in the process. All right. So before we get into Black Pug Software, I want to, Josh asked a great question. And the question is, are you extending the May 1st deadline for discount payment? The answer is yes to that. That was a decision that was made actually yesterday after most of this was put together. So I've been talking with the camping committee and with the Scout executive, and we recognize that this is a unique situation. This is a new situation that everybody's finding themselves in, and we want to make sure that we as a camp, we as Scouts are providing a large opportunity to help out our families. We recognize that not everybody is, obviously not everybody's meeting right now, but not everybody necessarily has the income coming in right now. And so with that, we are extending that May 1st deadline. It's going to be essentially as long as you're paid before you come to camp. We're not, it's going to be waived. If somebody walks in the door, hasn't registered at all before, and they're looking to be a part, well, we don't really have a way to accommodate for them quickly in terms of program supplies, in terms of materials, that sort of thing. If we have too many of those, that put a big strain on our dining hall staff to make sure that they're having those services ready for the campers. So as long as there's a deposit down, you can take your time in getting everything together. And if you want to make partial payments through the system, if you want to, however that works best for your given situation with your pack, but we will be extending that that May 1st deadline for everybody in light of everything that is going on. So thank you, Josh, for absolutely asking that question. So for now, we're going to transition a little bit into the Black Pug side of things, which is our online registration software. So some of you have gone in here already and have registered directly through the site. Others have sent in the paper form with the roster on the back and the $25. If you've done either of those, you're in the system. As long as you've paid a deposit with that paper form, you're in the system, because I've gone in on the back end and entered. If you filled out a paper form and didn't have a roster, but you put down, say you put down and paid for 8 slots. I've added 8 slots in there, but they're empty, so you still have to go in and fill the names in. But if you have names in there, and payment, you're in the system. The only time, like I said, if you don't have that would be in the event that you sent in a form that did not have payment associated with it. Then we weren't able to load you in here quite yet, but there's a really, really easy way to do that that I will show you right now. I just need to switch screens here quickly. So to access the Black Pug registration, there's 2 quick ways to do it. You can either have that link that I had on the bottom, or you can go to susquehannabsa.org, which is right here on our main page. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see 2020 camp reservation info. If you click on that, that will take you to our resident camp resources page. And you click here, this click here to register button, and that takes you right to that page that I had located on the slide. So from here, if you have not registered yet at all, and you're looking to sign up a new pack that has no youth or adults signed up yet, you'd find, okay, which session do I want? Cub Scout sessions are located down here because they come later on in the summer. So you select either week 1, which is the week of July 12th, or week 2, which is the week of July 19th. We'll go week 1 just for this purpose here. And then it prompts you, do you want to continue as guest or do you want to create a login? We'll just continue as guest for tonight. And you can select how many Cub Scout youth you want that are coming for that Sunday through Wednesday session, how many Weeblos youth you want that are coming for the full Sunday through Friday. I'll say 2 of those as well. And now you have 2 choices for adults. You have adult participant and you have adult daily rate. The reason for this is because we have the ratio where you get, as a pack, you get 2 free leaders, and then any additional leaders are $25 per day per individual. So if you click on the adult participant, you'll see there's only a maximum of 2. These are your free leaders. So we'll say we have 2 leaders there. And then the adult daily rate, only choose this option if you have more beyond the 2 that are coming. So if we have, we'll say 3 there. And then click the green register button. this will ask you for information. So I'll just put my information in here. Okay, so I didn't take it. Try it again. .org. Okay. Click continue. And now you are into the main contact page. So that information that I filled in, that was me as the, not necessarily as the Cub Master or the committee chair, but that is whoever you want your main person who's taking the lead on the registration process or the summer camp process. Sometimes that is that Cub Master, sometimes it is the committee chair, but I recognize that that's not always the case. So when you get into this point here, then you just basically, you want to take anything that's red and turn it into green. So we have a couple of things that we're missing. So we have update information, and it'll ask a couple of things. So here you have the opportunity to, what campsite do you want? Do you want, Baden Powell, Beaver, Bison? You can go ahead and it gives you the capacity. You can pick your preferences for which ones you want. Do you need electricity? Yes, for medical reasons, yes or no. I will say, if you say yes, make sure that your campsites are actually ones that do have the electricity capacity or electricity availability at them. And that's something that we have on our website. I haven't integrated that into our registration process yet, so I'll click no. And then you have up here on your right, you have your unit information. And then it's really important to answer this question: am I with Susquehanna Council? The answer is yes. I'm with PAC. And now you get your choice of choosing which PAC you want. If you need to search, I know we have it in 7 Bridges. We have a lot of ones that are in the 300s. So if I do, you put it right in there and it comes up as whatever PAC you're looking for. So I will choose PAC 5 just for purposes of tonight. And then save. All that has information has now been updated. The next thing you want to do then, see there's red over here and red over here. So just work your way to the right, and we have participants. Now this is where it gets really fun. If I chose a right PAC that has recharted on time. So I haven't. So if the PAC had recharted on time, if I chose a, maybe I'll choose a different PAC here. Let me try PAC. 38 was on time. Okay. So now, okay, well, it's still not working, but they'll have it. When the system works, it'll have up here a roster option, and you'll be able to click on that. It'll give you a full list of scouts, and you'll be able to choose from that, and it'll automatically fill out information. If that scout isn't on that system, it's really simple. You just click update information, type in their first name, last name, gender, emergency contact information, and then what rank they're at. Now, as you're looking through here, we have the Cub Scout youth are up on the top, and then the Webelos youth. Again, choose this option if you're registering as a Webelos or Arrow Blight. These are the ones that are registering for the longer session. These are the ones that are registering for the shorter session. You have your adult participants, and you have your adult daily rates. Josh, I see your question here is, I was told that each group got 2 free leaders, so 2 for Cubs and 2 for Webelos. The way it's working is it's 2 free leaders per pack. So if you have, I say per session, it's kind of a misnomer with that, so I apologize for the confusion. So if you have some of your pack is coming to week 1, and some of your pack is coming to week 2, then you get 2 free leaders for week 1, 2 free leaders for week 2. But if you have your whole group is coming on week 1, and you have 5 that are coming just for Sunday through Wednesday, and I have another 7 that are coming Sunday through Friday at the Webelos level, you have 2 free adults for total, and then everybody else is $25 per day for that. So that's where the free leaders and the daily rate come in to play with the leaders. And with Karen, is there a way to pay via unit check? Yes, there is through the system, and we will definitely get to that in a moment. So you have the opportunity to fill through all, but yeah, the opportunity again to fill in all of these information, and then click checkout. Again, it'll throw an error message up here saying, oh, well, I need to update these participants because I haven't put their names or anything in there. So any errors that pop up are immediately going to show, and the system will not let you continue unless you update and fix the things that need to be fixed. So I'm going to ignore those for now. But then after that is all done, then you can go ahead and go through the checkout summary process where you can pay either by credit card or electronic check. The only way that the system right now, and it's really difficult because of our office being closed, is through unit accounts. So right now, because our office is closed, we don't have access to unit account information in terms of how much do I have in my PAC unit account at the office. So being able to pay for it that way, we're still working through, again, with this being a new system, we're still working through how to best go through that. There is a way to do it, but with the office being closed, that's going to be probably the most difficult option at this point. But this, again, the credit card, debit card, or electronic check are all good options to go through here. And then when you click the more option, again, this will show you the payment schedule. Here shows you the daily rate of the adults, or if there's somebody coming for the full week, they get a little bit of a discount. I'll have to go in and change the May 1st deadlines for the early discounts. I'll extend those. That'll be later tonight or tomorrow when I'll extend those. And then our cancellation policy, payment schedule, all that sort of stuff is all preloaded into the system. So that is if you're a new PAC signing up for the first time, you haven't turned in any paperwork yet, and I want to sign up, I want to come to camp, and that is how to do it that way. Now, what I believe the most of you guys who have tuned in tonight have already done some form of registration, and you already have a deposit that's been paid, and you're looking to update the registrations, pay any final things, and go forward. So the way to do that is very simply, you wouldn't be in any of this position. So you would go back to, again, we're at the beginning, as if you just clicked on your camp reservation info, click here to register. You're back on your home page here. And now on the top right, you'll see a little spot that says look up. So you click that, and you can look up your registration. And when you use the email address of the individual, and I used for preloading these, I used the email address for who the person who filled out their name as the primary camp contact. So you put that email in, as well as the registration number that is generated through the system. So what will end up happening is when we're done here tonight, I'll be going through and emailing one by one each PAC with that information in a specific email saying, here is your email associated with, I'll use PAC 12s as an example for this one. So the email associated with it is here, your registration number associated with it is here, and copy those in there, paste them in, and click view registration. And then you will see this page. Now, in the time that between when this initial deposit was brought in, maybe we've had somebody, we didn't need electricity before, but maybe we do now. So you can go ahead and update information. You can change things however you want. If you want to change any of your campsites or anything in here, you have the ability to make edits to that. Just make sure you click save at the bottom to save your changes. I don't want to save any changes, so I'm not going to. But then this is green, so we can move over to the red. So here we have, they have their scouts that have already been, again, preloaded in. You can see how they have, their ranks are next to them, and the little lightning bolt says that their registration has been cross-checked with the membership information that we have on file at the office. So every single one of these scouts has been confirmed as being registered members of the BSA. They're good to go. It looks like the red things that need to be updated, and this is going to be for the majority of everybody, is to update the adult participant information of who's coming. So again, is it going to, who, put your first, last name, an email address if you want, who, their gender, emergency contact information, if they have any allergies, medical concerns, or dietary restrictions. This is all going to help out, because the more information that we can provide to our staff, particularly our health officer staff, as well as our dietary staff in the kitchen, if we know that there are a whole bunch of allergies that are coming in a particular week that have, red dye number 40 allergies or peanut butter allergies, we can take special steps to make sure that we are being as accommodating as absolutely possible to make sure that everybody is safe and in a welcoming environment for those. And so if you have that information, again, we ask that you please do it. If you don't have that information, you don't have that information, that's okay too. So now say, for example, you have, we have here, and oh, I forgot to add a scout. Well, it's really simple. All you have, on the top right here, you can click add participants. And then do you want to add a Cub Scout at the 220 rate? You want to add a Weeblos at the 320 rate? You've reached the limit on the free leaders, or you have another adult, you can do those as well. So I've been able to update those things. And then, so say we've gone through, we'll pretend that we've gone and updated all the participant information for the adults. And then you go through with the payments section here. And when you have your participant summary, so we have the, again, the number of youth, the number of adults. There's already been a $345 credit applied towards this, which would have been their deposits that they've put down, any additional payments and whatnot that they've added to that at this point. The early discount, the way that the system has it is, again, it was, rather than calling it a regular fee and late fee, the system has it be fee and then early discount for the regular rate by the May 1st. So basically what this is going to look like is everybody's going to be getting that early discount as long as they're registering through the online system. So when you get through this and go to the actual payment page, you will be able to see that you can actually, I wonder if I can log in. I have the ability to do some overriding things, but you can actually see how much how much money is applied to each scout or to each leader, and you'll be able to make, if you have, for example, let me use some names here for participants. So let's say Carter has paid you $30 towards camp, and Piper has paid $100 towards camp. So together you have the $130. You can go ahead and enter that $130 and then break it up between that 30 goes to Carter, that 100 goes to Piper during the payment section. There's a whole lineup of scouts, and you add the money to the unit and then you apply it down below to each scout. So it's really simple to see. And again, it'll show an error message as, oh, well, you have unapplied funds, or the amount of money that you've applied does not equal the total amount. It's a very, very straightforward system to use in terms of if you've made a mistake, it's very easy to tell you and say, hey, you got to go back and fix it. Additionally, on any of these steps, if you have any questions at all about the system itself, you'll notice on the bottom here, there's a little support tab. If you click the support tab, there has a whole bunch of information on how do you create your own account. It's not required, but it can help you with when you want to access historical registration data as we go through this process more and more. You can have part 2, part 3 of how to create an account. You have parent portal, which on the Cub Scout side of things, it doesn't really do a whole lot. That really comes into play more on the Scouts BSA side of things when you're looking at program advancements to the merit badge programs and whatnot that we run, where the leaders would have the opportunity to open it up to parents if they want to say, hey, you can track, is Johnny going to class, or is he skipping out on swimming to go to rifle, or did things change, or you can track all those things in real time if you want. So that's really where more the parent portal comes into play as opposed to on the Cub Scout side of things. But it is an option that you have available to you, that it'll ask you, do you want to have parent portal available when you go in to register for the first time? So the system with, and see, I'm seeing Karen, can parents access the system to make payments towards their own Scout? To answer, I mean, through the way that we have it set up with summer camp, no, and it really wouldn't work all that well for the purposes of summer camp. Now, if there's an event like a Merit Badge College, or which is, again, I know it's a Scouts BSA thing, but if there's like an IOLS or a Baloo training for an adult, those are really set up to be more individual registrations, which are still run through here, but it's set up in a different way so that each individual family or Cubs in camp might be one where it can go either way, where you might have some families that are going one day, some families going another day, or you can register as a pack. So the way that this system is set up for resident camp is really more along the lines of one point person from your unit, from your pack, that is accessing the registration, because you really don't want to be giving your, I mean, I guess in theory you could give your same registration link and email out to everybody, but I don't think you necessarily want to be doing that for that. And then looking at Steve's, does the system show how many you are currently registered for a camping session, or is that information that only I can see? Steve, I think I answered that already in terms of how many are registered for each, or are you looking at, maybe you can clarify for me, are you looking at the total number of Cub Scouts or Scouts BSA in a particular week? If that's the question you're asking, that is something that I have access to, and I can see that, and we can, we can post that on our Facebook page, but that's not really something that is on the front half of the registration system for our packs as they're signing up for things to see of, oh, well, I see that week 1 has 75 people signed up for it, but week 2 has 175. So, that might dictate which way I want to sign up for. That really isn't shown on the system, but that is definitely something that I have access to, and that if anybody's ever interested in, I can definitely make that information available to anybody. Good questions here. Good questions. So again, when you're in this system too, there are a couple of things that if you want to see your payment history of, we'll just click on that for a little bit. So we can see that 3 checks were made. So we have our initial deposit, then we have a couple other ones of 80 and 155 that were applied. Looks like Molly came into the store or the council office at one point to drop off a couple of checks to pay for things for their camp, and then we were able to apply those. So you'll be able to see that sort of thing. And then the other thing you can look at is reports. So if you click on report, this might be one that will be really important for you. You can click on unit roster, which will again give you a list of all of your scouts, the rank that they're in, and it helps you with check-in. We'll have this information when you get to camp. We'll be able to cross-reference this against who's actually there, and we'll be able to check the boxes. Did they go through their health medical, the recheck form? Did they have their health written release form signed? Are there any pieces of information that we need? Do you want to keep it for swimming? I mean, this system gives you everything, but we might not necessarily use everything at camp. But it's definitely a really awesome tool to be able to have as you go through your planning process to say, okay, well, I know that parents 1, 2, and 3 are going to be here for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then 4 and 5 are coming in on Wednesday and they're staying till Friday, or something along those lines. This will give you that information. The other one that I think will be very handy for you is payment allocations. So if you look at payment allocations, this is going to tell you, again, here's the scouts, there's their cost of camp. These participants, remember, those are adults that we haven't gotten the names for yet. And you go over here, how much have they paid and how much each individual scout owes. So that will tell you a lot of awesome information. So you can tell, again, so it looks like those Extra checks looks like they went against to pay for Gabriel. So Gabriel owes less than everybody else, and you can sell that really quickly just by seeing this payment allocations form, and then you can see all the different payments that have come in for the pack through the system here. So again, to access that is you are looking at more reports, payment allocations. So that is a really, really good one to have. All right. Payment by credit card. Does it open for a secured site? Yes. So the scoutingevent.com, the Black Pug system, is a secure site. You can tell a site is always secure. There's two features on most web browsers that'll tell. First is the little lock icon up here, and that'll verify if it's not a secure site, the little lock will be open and it'll show like it's unlocked, so it's not secure. The other thing you can look at is if you see the HTTPS, the S stands for secure. So if you have an unsecure site, it'll just say HTTP, and then it'll go into the rest of the website. So the Black Pug system is a secure site for entering your data, and they definitely do a very good job of managing things. The Black Pug system actually was designed specifically for scouting, and it was made up by a bunch of volunteers who were getting a little bit unhappy with the way that their councils, their respective councils were. They didn't really have the tools that they needed to be able to take payments along this line, do online registrations. There wasn't that access point. So the folks at Black Pug actually went ahead and designed it specifically with scouting in mind for that. So we're just getting to reap the benefits of the years that they put in, and again, with that support, here there's a whole bunch of different YouTube videos that are really, really easy to access. And again, if you have any questions, please email me. If I don't have the answer, if the YouTube video doesn't have the answer, we have contact information for specific folks at Black Pug who are there to help us, who are designated for our council, and really have done a phenomenal job of helping us get off the ground with that. So I will click back to my PowerPoint slide here. So again, some of the benefits of the Black Pug software: we have quick, secure, and immediate registration, which in a time like now when we have limited ability to see each other in person, that is a huge, huge benefit. You can apply payments for specific campers, and it's rather user-friendly. It's easy to use. There's a lot of, basically, and I've gone and I've purposely tried to break it, so to speak. Are there different things that I can do that would screw it up? And there isn't anything that I've done yet that can't be undone or fixed. So if you ever feel like you're in a bind of, oh, I think I did something wrong, don't worry about it. Give me a call, give me a text, give me an email. We'll get that sorted out for you right away. They're really easy to work with. And again, if you've already had a registration, what you'll need to access your existing registration is an email address and your registration number. I will stress the importance of it is if you have more scouts that want to come onto your roster to come for your, if you're coming on week one, and we have more folks that want to come week one with your pack, please go on and use that add registrants tab, as opposed to having to go online and create another registration number, because that creates a little bit more muddiness in the water, so to speak. It's a lot more difficult. It is possible to merge those in, but it doesn't look as clean. It's not as easy, and then it creates difficulty with who has access to what and who's seeing a full picture. The best way to do it really is to have that one point person, like I said before, of one email address, one registration number that is taking the lead for each pack throughout this process. All right, some cool swag that we have again coming up. We had a lot of fun and excitement that came with some of the new things that we brought in last year. Gray was our color last year. We're going to be going with a dark blue for our colors this year. I didn't have the chance to get new artwork from our friends over at we're blanking on where we get them from in Muncie, but they are excited again to be producing things, and we're excited to have the web store coming back. It's my understanding that we're going to be using the Keystone. Thank you, Steve. We're going to be having the same URL. If you go there now, I haven't gone there yet, but if you go there now, I think it's just saying, thank you for a great season, and it's down, but we'll have that up live soon. The one big thing that we wanted to look to have fixed for this upcoming summer that we didn't have last summer was on the prepackaged goods that were sold. They came in and they had the number or the name and information of the person whose credit card was made to purchase the items, but it didn't have a pack number, it didn't have a troop number. So we've been working with Keystone to get that fixed, so that way when you show up, the idea too is when you show up to camp to check in, your staff guide is actually going to preemptively go in and get all of your items for you. So you don't even have to go into the store to worry about that, and we'll be able to count them up against each other, sign up, okay, we're good to go. Again, trying to make that easier for you guys, because there's a lot going on a Sunday. We want to make sure that that's just one less thing that you have to worry about getting, and then fumbling with, do you have, are things getting dropped along the way as you're trying to go to the pool and whatnot. So we'll make sure that we get those to you, to your campsites, quickly and effectively on Sundays. And other thing as it relates to the trading post, really cool thing that we were toying around with at the end of last year and didn't get the chance to really do it, but we're going to be having a new look to our unit photos. So we have a really, and obviously this was not taken at Camp K, but we want to have a design around the outside to really frame it, and the photo is a really cool memento that each troop has the opportunity to get in front of our iconic sign. And the better we can do as a camp to help commemorate that through this new look, we're excited to bring that. So I just wanted to share that with everybody as well. So getting to our Sunday check-in process, it's going to be very similar to last year. If you were there last year, we have the gates open at 1 o'clock. The difference between last year and this year moving forward is rather than having everybody arrive at 1, we're going to have them slightly modified. So in the weeks leading up to camp, you'll get an email, or your unit leader will get an email saying, hey, Pack 12, hey, Pack 38, we're really excited to have you come to camp, and your arrival time we're asking you to get there is 1:30 or 1:45 or 1:15 or 1 o'clock. The idea is, again, to help stagger that, to make it a little bit easier. Whereas the older youth in our Scouts BSA program were able to hang out, sitting around for a little bit. First year or second year, tiger, wolf, bear, not so much, and that's okay. So we're trying to do that in a way to help make it easier on you guys as leaders to make sure that as soon as a scout and as soon as a pack arrives, they're able to get everything all taken care of. As soon as the whole group is there, we'll get them in. We'll start the process of getting them checked in and going through that. We're going to make sure that our trailers, and we're going to have staff down there in the parking lot as guides to line the trailers up in a specific spot, whether we have cones or spray paint. The idea is that we want to have those trailers loop around so that they're still in line, but that way they're not backing up into the main roadway and preventing other vehicles from getting into the parking lot, to make sure that, again, that we're just keeping things as smooth as possible. Our staff guides, rather than having one staff guide per campsite, we're going to switch that around to having one staff guide per pack, again, being able to offer that more individual experience for you and to make it easier for you as you go throughout that check-in process. Like last year, you can have one car, one vehicle, or whether it was a truck or a trailer, or a truck or a car, bringing the gear up to your campsite. If you have a unit trailer that you want to leave up at your campsite, you can absolutely do that. We can ask that all vehicles are parked in the parking lot for the duration of camp, just for camper safety and making sure of that. If you do not have a trailer, because I know that not every pack has a trailer or associated with a troop that has a trailer, you can definitely have a vehicle in your camps off on the road, or off the road rather, in a parked spot where a trailer would usually be, for act as your big bear canister, so to speak. So all your food and all your smellable items can go into that at the end of the night, so that way you're not getting any uninvited guests into your camping grounds. But we're just asking that if you don't have a trailer and you're using a car for that purpose, that the car just stays parked there for the entire duration of your stay. Just again, with a lot of little kids running around in camp, we want to make sure that we're keeping our safety standards as absolutely high as possible. And then going through your medical recheck in the handicraft area. From there, you're being able to go on your camp tour and swim check. The medical recheck area is going to be, obviously with everything going around with coronavirus, we want to make sure that what we're doing with that recheck is as high standard as possible. We're going to be asking a few additional questions this year of each scout and each leader, saying, hey, have you felt ill over the past 2 weeks? Have you been running a fever, or any of those sorts of things that are in line with the coronavirus? We want to make sure that what we're doing as a camp is being able to help everybody, get out in the outdoors and have fun, because if you're anything like me, you've just been cooped up and going insane. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're not the reason for how this is spreading. So we're definitely going to do our due diligence during medical rechecks, and then Sunday check-ins will go smoothly from there on out. To help you and help us during paperwork, during the check-in process, we have some paperwork. It'll be a little bit easier this year because, again, we have the online registration system. It'll be easier to check people in. If your roster of youth and adults is different than what was done online, we're just asking for some documentation of that. That way we can make sure that everything lines up with everybody who we have saying is in camp is actually the people who are in camp. If it's the same, you don't really need to worry about that. We need to have, obviously, our Pennsylvania clearances and youth protection training certificates. Quick word on the PA-15s, your Pennsylvania clearances, your state police, child abuse history, and your FBI or waiver. We're getting around to that point now. Those were introduced back in 2014, 2015. And those certificates, those clearances, are good for 5 years only. So if you were involved as a volunteer, whether it was in scouting, whether it was in your local church, your fire department, anywhere that requires those clearances, if you originally applied for those back in 2014, 2015, 2016, you're getting really close to that timeline when you have to reapply for those. And we want to make sure that as you're going throughout that process, now a lot of folks have a lot of time on their hands. This might be a good opportunity to look at that to see, hey, am I in that window where I need to reapply, and make sure that I have those? Or if I don't have those at all, do I need to apply to begin with to get those clearances? Those are super, super important. And definitely we want to make sure that we're following the law by making sure that we have copies, that your local unit has copies, your chartering organization has copies, and you yourself has a copy as well. So those are, really want to make sure that we're being diligent with that paperwork. Again, youth protection registration in the BSA is required for any adult defined as 18 years of age or older who is staying for more than 72 hours. It doesn't have to be necessarily consecutive. So if, say, they're coming in on Sunday and they're staying Monday, leaving Tuesday, but then they're coming back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you take the first half of the week and the second half of the week and you still add those together. The clock doesn't start over just because they took a day off with that. And that's a rule from the national office. So if there's any way that we can help with, if you have any of your adults that need registrations, we are obviously wanting to work alongside of you guys to help do whatever we can to help facilitate getting signatures. Obviously during this time, it'd be hard to get in contact with people, but let us know. Talk to Brian, talk to Walt, myself, or Dennis if we can do anything to help with getting signatures or getting any of those sorts of things taken care of. And any meal tickets and unit photos that you're looking to purchase, if you haven't done those yet, those can be done at the trading post as well. So we'll have our staff all ready to go at the trading post for that purpose. All right. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm not the program director this year, but example of the daily schedule. We have an awesome program that we're in the process of developing, and actually now might be a good time as any. One of our individuals who's on the call tonight, Chris Killigas, is going to be our program director for the summer. He is a Camp K alum from, oh gosh, I know we talked about this, 90s, was it?
Yeah, actually, 2004 would have been the last year.
Okay. Wonderful.
So
Yeah,
94 to 04, basically.
wonderful. So yeah, we are truly, truly excited to have Chris back on board. He has been ecstatic and already talking with me about some different ideas and different ways of how we can engage our packs, engage our troops. What can we do to make this the greatest summer ever? So, you know, when you're looking at this schedule, it's not intended to be the end all be all. This is just an example of what I pulled from last year's as a basically saying that you'll be divided up into groups. We call them dens last year. And you follow your color along the track of, all right, from 9 o'clock, den 1 is doing archery. And then from 10 o'clock, they go down to aquatics and then they go to sports and games before lunch. And so each day, your pack leaders will be receiving copies of whatever that daily schedule looks like. And that way you'll be able to look at it and prepare and make sure that you have everything that you need to help have the best program possible for, again, we know that the best leaders are the ones that are the most informed. The best adults are the ones that are most informed with as much information as we possibly can provide. So we will make sure that we get those things to you as they happen. And we'll make sure that, again, like with anything, our Weeblos are doing a little bit more advanced program than our Tigers, but they'll still be going around to all the different program areas and getting the full gamut of what it means to have an opportunity to be at camp. So, Chris, is there anything that you wanted to add onto that quickly before we move on?
No, I just want to say hi to everybody. Probably some of you I already know. I might not remember everybody. It has been quite a few years, but I'm very excited to be back in camp for the summer. And Jacob and I are going to be working really hard at making this the best summer it can be. So I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So moving back to our slide deck here, we have obviously a little bit of time while everybody's hunkered down in self-isolation or social distancing. And there are some things that we can all do to help make sure that one camp hits once we're finally there, that we're able to have the best possible time because everything was all done beforehand. So I already talked about the clearances and make the ability to take the time now to get those redone if you need them. Youth protection training, and I'll add hazardous weather in there as well. Any of our online trainings, this is a phenomenal opportunity to go on, and whether you're needing to renew it for your unit or whether you're just looking to get more information, there's a whole bunch of different things that are out online on my.scouting.org, and this is a great opportunity to really explore all that the training department has put out, and making sure that any of those that pertain to camp, that you're able to take advantage of the time here. We already talked about registration, so I don't cover that. So again, full camp fees, again, the May 1st, that's not completely accurate, but again, the sooner you can get that information into us, the better, because that's going to help us to apply and make sure that we have enough program supplies for everything. I will say, at minimum, if you know of additional scouts that are coming in, please just at least get a deposit down into the system, so that way we can begin that process of figuring out how many scouts that we need to plan for program material wise, because that's really, really going to be super important for us as we go throughout this process of ordering and lead times on everything, because again, with everything shut down, the timelines for us to be able to acquire materials is shrinking, and we need to put requests in now if we want to have it in by the beginning of June. So really, if at minimum, or again, we're saying, if you can at least have a deposit in for everybody, even if the full payment isn't in, that would be extremely helpful. And then one of the things that is not online yet, but it will be by the end of tonight, is a kitchen information sheet. Again, with the check-in process, one of the things that we all do is we take a tour of camp, which goes through the dining hall. And the things that the dining hall is always looking for from us is, as campers, as participants, do we have any individuals with specific dietary needs? If we know of those ahead of time, Donnie and his crew are amazing, absolutely amazing at accommodating for as many things as possible. It was a true pleasure just being able to see them work last year. And the sooner and the earlier that they can get that information, the better that they'll be able to prepare and accommodate for any dietary needs for any of your campers. We know we have some packs and some troops that like to cook in their campsite at all. So the question will be on there of, is there any times that you plan on cooking in your campsite during your stay? The reason that's important is because that'll mean that if we know that a pack has 20 individuals in it, and we know that they're going to be cooking in their campsite, that means that we're going to make sure that we're being conservative with our resources. And one of the biggest things that we saw on the surveys last year was that we saw that there was a lot of food waste that was going in. So being able to have some of this information will help us to cut down on the food waste, to be able to make sure that we're conservation minded in what we're doing in camp. And again, the third thing, anything else that you have to help the staff, help the kitchen staff with, do you know that there's going to be on Tuesday night, we're going to be having a whole bunch of people coming in from different parents or whatever, and they're all going to be buying meal tickets. So we need to make sure that there's an extra 15 spots set up, or anything that you like that you can think of that would be beneficial to get to Donnie and his team, so that way they can help make sure that all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes is there, so that when you show up for your meals, all you have to worry about is, okay, where do we sit? So if you have the opportunity to, again, look at those 5 things, those 5 bullet points as we lead up to camp, that will really help us in the long run. So last year we had, with great success, a patch design contest, and these were the winners of last year's design. We have both adults and scouts submit designs for us, and again, that is open for 2020 as well. We've had a couple of submissions already. I can tell you that we're still in the process of looking for more, and with everybody hunkered down, this is a great time for, if you have any homeschooling classes that you're looking to do, arts and crafts, so you can have, hey, you want to design a patch, and whether it's you're taking a picture of it and texting it to me or emailing it to me, we are looking for as many designs as possible, because we want, again, camp is not about me, it's not about Dennis, it's not about anybody, one person, it's about us as a community coming together for an awesome summer. And what better way to do that than by having everybody come together and work together to create an awesome patch. So if you have that, I'm going to have the deadline for that set. It was supposed to be for the end of March. I'm going to extend that out to the middle of April, give or take. I won't put a specific date on it, but I know I'll need to have some time in there to put a patch order in. But the sooner the better. If you have any designs that you yourself want to put in, or if you have any scouts that are interested in putting that in as well. And training opportunities. So at camp each year, we have the opportunity, again, because we have a whole bunch of folks that are there, and we have one of the, unless I would say they're the best council training committee in the entire Boy Scouts of America and in Susquehanna Council. We have one of the highest training percentages of all of our leaders across the board when you look at any other council in the country. And that is because of the great work that our training team does. And one of the things that they offer each year is the opportunity for, hey, we'll come in, we'll do different trainings if you're interested in it, whether it's an in-person youth protection, whether it's an in-person Cub Master specifics, working with our lifeguards for a safe swim defense, or if you have any other specifics that you want to see, definitely encourage you, please add those into the group chat. Please send me emails or text messages or anything like that, because again, we want to make sure that what we're doing makes sense for you. Are there any things that you want to see? Is it maybe it's not a specific training that is considered required for position trained, but maybe it's, how do I deal with wild and unruly kids in a den meeting? Maybe the little mini sessions along those lines that we can help prep for. Anything that you can think of that we as a council, we as a district can help make your lives easier as parents, as scout leaders, volunteers, whatever you want. We want to make sure that we're able to provide that for you. I see Baloo. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sending that in. But yeah, definitely keep those in on the group chat and sending emails to me, because we want to make sure that what we're doing makes sense for what there's an interest and a need for on the front lines. All right, and that brings me pretty much to the end of what I have here. So what questions do you have? I'll start with, I have one from Karen here, but please add those into the group chat. I have, do you have any suggestions on how we should collect camp payments from families with the current social distancing guidelines and recent stay-at-home order? Are we just to wait until the order is lifted and sort it out then? Absolutely. I mean, you could wait for that. One of the things that I've found that has worked really well for me has been the use of PayPal. And I know when I was in Albany, I actually had a couple of PACs that specifically set up through their, that had tied in with their PAC bank account, was a PayPal account where they were able to do everything from collect dues to payments for different events, to they even went as so far as to if you wanted to get a handbook or a neckerchief slide at the beginning of the year, you could just pay, and then they would have one of their leaders go in to the shop and do it all their shopping for their pack at once, and then bring it to the next pack meeting, and then everybody would have their own little things labeled out. So if you want to look at different things on that, definitely encourage you to work with your chartering organizations, because I know some different churches might have things available to them for the ability to access payments or take payments. A lot of churches have gone to giving online. I know that's the way that I give in my church, and so they might have some things that they might be able to leverage to help you out as an extension of their organization, if that's something here. Steve, Part C form for scouts. Yes, absolutely. So when you're looking at the BSA health form, Part C is a required thing for resident camp. And I'm actually just going to stop sharing my screen for now. That way you can see me. Yes, Part C is definitely a thing that we need to be mindful of when you're looking at, can I get in to see a doctor? And that is something that I know that I've been on a couple of conference calls with the national office with outdoor programs. And that was one of the biggest things that they were saying, that, hey, we're getting calls from all across the country of, that is our biggest question. What I'll pass along is what I have is they're aware of that. They're working through trying to figure out what that looks like. And there isn't a specific answer at this point, but I know that that's something on the national office that they're looking at, and they want to make sure that they'll have an answer to us as camps, as councils, as soon as absolutely possible. But at this point, I say just keep on doing our best with being able to get those in as we can. Look back here to see if for credit card. Yep, we already got that. Parents access, we already talked about that. Show. 2 free. Is there a way to pay via unit check? It was closed. We talked about that. May 1st. All right. If the decision is Part C is required and the scout cannot get the appointment before camp starts, would they get a refund? Yeah, we will definitely be accommodating as much as we possibly can. Again, this is just a unique circumstance where things are beyond any of our control, and the best laid plans of mice and men. It's just we're going to definitely respond in with as much as we can towards assisting the scouts and helping the packs and helping you guys as families. We get that this is not a typical summer. This is not a typical spring. And what has been the case for many years of being able to get into seeing a doctor, seeing any sort of medical provider to get that Part C and your physical looked at and signed off on might be challenging. I mean, it's my wife is a physician assistant. I'm seeing it firsthand with where the resources are being directed, and non-essential things are kind of being pushed off to the side for now. We're definitely going to be willing and accommodating. We'll definitely be willing to work with any of our families that run into that situation. Absolutely. Dennis, I'm going to put you on the spot here while we're waiting for any other questions to come in. Is there anything that you want to share with the group from a council perspective, whether it's related to coronavirus, whether it's related to summer camp, or just anything in general?
We're trying to stay on top of everything as well as we can. I'm communicating with everyone from the governor's office to the state chambers of commerce to different scout executives in different councils in Pennsylvania. As we learn what's happening or best methods, we're going to share them with the volunteers as we can. But one of the decisions we made as a council, all of the staff is back working from home. So if you have a question or you have a problem, email your district executive, email Jake, email me, or call the office. We can check our voice messages remotely, or call our cell phones if you know our number. If you don't, send me an email. I'm more than happy to share my phone number, and I know Jake will do the same.
So, all my information I just shared, it should be on the screen right now. Obviously, I mean, I do have the ability to check my messages from the work number, the extension 101, but it's just much easier if you want to call my cell phone, 585-409-0622, or my email, jacob.horner@skyline.org. And whether it's about camp, whether it's about anything else, even if I'm not the right person, again, I'm more than happy. We're all working together as a team throughout everything. More than happy to help direct your question to whoever that right person is. Again, whether it's related to camp, whether it's related to events, your unit activities, or anything along those lines. I want to make sure that we're being as accommodating as possible. So with that, I don't see any other questions at this point. So if you have any other things that you can think of as we go throughout this process, or if there are any updates that come, or as you're talking to your families, as any other things come up, again, please feel free to email me, text me, call me, or any of us from the office. We want to make sure that we're doing our best to make sure that you guys are as well informed as possible as it relates to all things scouting. So with that, I want to thank everybody for your time, and stay safe out there. Make sure you wash your hands, and we'll definitely be in contact soon.